It's Friday. Woo! We love Fridays around here. Come on in, you guys. Grab your coffee, grab your tea, whatever you're drinking. Come on in and let's just settle in for a half a minute. Half a minute. Oh, such a good week this has been. Such a great transition to a little more flannelly weather in Minnesota. Very excited about that. The sun is still shining. October is always so beautiful around here, just gorgioso. So today, you guys, what I want to do is I saw a reel yesterday, and it was talking about the connection between how when your estrogen comes down, it affects your insulin resistance. And I thought this is a connection that I think my people would really like to hear about. Because again, remember, I always tell you, it's because this is a biological conversation. This is a hormonal conversation as to why you're overweight. This is a cellular conversation with insulin resistance. It's not about you being a loser. It's not about you being lame at losing weight. It's not about you being just suckwad at discipline. And, and that comes from somebody who was extremely undisciplined. I mean, I was not a disciplined person. I guess we're all disciplined at something. Maybe it's not what we want to be undisciplined or what we want to be disciplined at. Maybe that's what happens. But anyway, so if you don't know who I am, my name is Kirsten Liebelt. How you doing? Nice to meet you. I'm actually in Minnesota, and I was born and raised here. And I thought I heard something. Anyway, born and raised in Minnesota, and except for 8 years in the 90s, we lived in the Black Hills of South Dakota. But I was raised inside of an Italian family. And my dad was 100% Italian, my mom 100% Swedish. And so there was just a lot of obesity and type 2 diabetes from the Italian side, not my mom's side. My mom's mom, skinny as a rail, never went to the doctor, not one stitch of memory issue, died at 97, playing Scrabble. She was the epitome of the last most normal person I know. The last most normal person on the face of the planet that I have a memory of that was healthy, normal, if that makes sense. And so she died at 97 in 1996. So anyway, so she was born 1899. Good morning, Peggy. Good to see you. Good morning, Patty. Sweet lady. It's Friday. Woo, woo. We love Fridays. I know. I'm with you. It gets us out of our routine. It gets us out of our schedule. It's always so much fun. And we've got a really cool thing. So little tiny side note. My husband has been in Christian radio for 42 years, something like that. And this weekend, there is a Jeremy Camp concert that his work, his station is doing. And so it's I get to go to a Jeremy Camp concert this weekend. We used to go to concerts all the time when my kids are little, because they hosted a bunch of them at other radio stations that he worked at. They just hosted these huge festivals and stuff. That's not been my world for a really long time. So it's not super often we go to concerts, but Jeremy Camp, I'm excited about that. That's been a long, long time. Good morning. Excited to hear what you have to share. Yay. Okay, this is going to be a really good one, you guys. So just buckle in. Barb from Ontario. Hey, Barb, did you get my ingredient stuff on the primer and the orange pixie stick? I'd like to know. Magda, good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. All you guys from New York. Okay, so today what I wanted to do was I wanted to talk about the connection with how when estrogen comes down in women, this is when we really start to have these makes everything harder, and we don't necessarily know why. So I'm going to break it down for you to a ninth grader's perspective, which is what I needed in order to share it with you. Anyway, Marilyn, another New Yorker. Happy Friday. Good morning from Southern Ohio. Heidi, good to see you. Carl, from everywhere. This is so fun. Every once in a blue moon, we get somebody from even Scotland or something crazy. Crazy pants. Crazy. Okay, so let's dive into this, because I really do think this is actually very, very fascinating, because again, we are so freaking hard on ourselves as women. We are just we have these double standards in our society where if you have a mom bod, you're shamed. But if you have a dad bod, that's sexy. And all this BS. And we have to let this stuff go. And then we also feel we are very like it's not because it's a natural occurrence of something. It's because we're either lame or we're stupid or we're undisciplined or we're really mean to ourselves, and we have to stop doing this. Okay, so that's why when I talk about like this stuff, or like in the group Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women, I talk about like you do your journey without shame. Like this is a core value, and that's what I had to do. I had to go inside of my head, and it was just like me and Jesus. And this is like about maybe 9 years ago, 10 years ago, when I really started to change up my food ingredients, because I started with my supplements first. And I just was like, I didn't tell anybody what was going on at all, because I knew I didn't understand anything. So I just was like, I'm just going to allow myself to remember or understand why something triggers me and not have any shame about it. So anyway, okay. So this is what we're going to do. So we're going to make this as simple as possible. All right. Estrogen isn't just a female hormone. It's also a metabolism helper. That's probably all you needed to know right there. So when your estrogen goes down, there you go. Okay. When it's balanced, it helps your body use sugar for energy instead of storing it as fat. That sounds pretty helpful, right? But when estrogen changes, everything about how your body handles food, cravings, and belly fat changes too. So during your cycling years, so if you're on here, I know I've got some girls that jump on here, they're in their 30s. How you doing? This is actually, I wish I would have heard this information. I wish I was on a video back when I was in my 30s talking to me, because I was spending my 30s being completely like, totally disconnected from my body, totally not assessing my world, drinking all the sugar I could get from the International Delight creamers, making everything white. I mean, my girlfriend and I we would laugh and say, like, what can't you make out of a 50-pound bag of flour? And we'd go to Sam's Club and we'd get these huge flour bags, and we'd like make homemade pizza dough and homemade Italian bread. And we'd do all these things so that we could feed our families, right? And we ate a lot of pasta and a lot of sugar and all of the things. And that's what I was doing in my 30s. So if you're in your 30s and you're on here, like, God bless you, because you are actually like taking life back into your own hands. Okay, good, Barb. You got the stuff. Okay. Happy Friday, Sandy. Good morning, Terry. Good to see you. Okay. So here we go. So during your cycling years, back when you had your cycle, estrogen rises during the first half of your cycle. When it's doing its job, it's keeping you insulin sensitive, meaning your cells are opened up. They're using the glucose for fuel. And that's why some weeks, even during, like if you go back into your brain, or if you're there right now, some weeks you can fast easily, you can feel energetic, you can lose weight, because that first half your estrogen is rising and it's keeping you insulin sensitive. It's helping you to do that, right? But if you already have insulin resistance from stress, sugar, poor sleep, then estrogen can't do her job. That was me. That was me in my 30s, big time. I was already insulin resistant. How did I know that? Well, I was gestational diabetic at 22 with my first baby. I was hypoglycemic with my second baby. That's how I knew. I mean, I didn't know, like I wasn't putting the pieces together, but when I look back now, and then when I was 30, my dad died at 63 from type 2 diabetes. So here I am in my 30s, my weight is rising. I'm eating poorly. I'm raising babies, probably not getting the best sleep, tons of sugar, like give me all the snack size Snicker bars, right? That kind of a thing. Okay. So therefore, I was insulin resistant, so my estrogen was not able to do its job very well, even though it was still rising because I still had a cycle, right? So instead of helping me burn fat, it kept me bloated and very moody and craving carbs right around that mid-cycle, okay? Now, let's shift to perimenopause for just a second. So when I was perimenopausal in my 40s, I was definitely like, I had all these symptoms and I was like a total hot mess express. And I had everything going on, but I had no connections. I didn't understand any of this. So I had brain fog like crazy. I was, I couldn't multitask, and I was like I felt super vulnerable and things like that. Right. That anxiety that's right under the surface. And you're just like, what is going on? Or that sadness that kind of comes over you. And I'm like, wow, this is kind of like postpartum. Like, this is weird. What's this? This is where things get messy. Okay. So your estrogen starts to rise and fall unpredictably. Some days are high, some days are low, and that roller coaster makes insulin go on a roller coaster too. This is why I am always so 100% convinced that the trunk of the tree is called insulin resistance, and every other single branch that comes off of it is because of this. So insulin resistance exacerbates perimenopause. So if you are in perimenopause, or you have a friend that is right in that 40s to 50s, it could even be late 30s, but late 30s to early 50s, right in there, there's that like 15-year window where that perimenopause is kind of like getting its claws or whatever. And it's the insulin, like domino affecting all of your other hormones and turning them upside down. And you like feel like, where'd she go? Where did she go? It's because your estrogen is rising and falling unpredictably. And that roller coaster is now with your insulin at the same time. So you're just like your insulin isn't helping to keep you insulin sensitive anymore, or your estrogen is not helping you to stay insulin sensitive like it was. It was kind of steady as she goes before. Okay. So one week you might feel like your old self. The next week you're like tired, swollen, or you can't fast without crashing. If you're trying to do any intermittent fasting, you may start gaining weight, mostly around your belly, even when you're eating healthy. And you have to hear me when I say this. You are not broken. I thought that I was broken. I said to my husband a bazillion times, I would be so wealthy if I had a nickel for every time I said, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? Because my brain wasn't functioning right. And I felt so out of sorts, and my sense of well-being had left the building, and I didn't like any of that. And by the way, that's why we're going to do like a little extended, I forgot to mention this at the beginning, tomorrow at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, Saturday, I'm going to do a private Zoom for anybody who wants to get in on doing just a little bit of an expanded version of supplements that are not the norm of what I talk about here. Because what I talk about here, when I talk about the total body reset, that's insulin resistance 101. Basically, like everything is targeted. Boom, 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 super targeted, right? And that's what we talk about. And that's where all these testimonies come from. But there's another suite of supplementation that I take, and everything has a purpose and a reason. So like magnesium and ashwagandha and carb blocker and things like that. And I can explain that to you guys tomorrow. If you want to get in on that, you can go to my site, and there's a form you put in your email. And I'll explain that here in just a second. And if you're on Facebook, it's already on my screen. But anyway, and it's the profile on TikTok. But you're gaining this weight, and your hormones are just changing, and the rules of the game are changing. And so this is where you have to be like, okay, listen, stop. I'm not broken. I'm not crazy. I just have to find some balance inside of my body again. This isn't about you trying to only mitigate your mental health. It's like fix the inside so that your mental health gets better. Right? Root cause. That's what we talk about for losing weight and for being sane. Root cause, because it's hormonal. So now, okay, what if you're in menopause and you've stopped your cycle, you haven't had a cycle for about a year or so, something like that? Well, once your estrogen drops for good, that natural insulin sensitivity support is gone. It's gone. It's like the nut fell out the bottom. And you're like, oh, what the heck? Without it, your body becomes naturally more insulin resistant. Oh, you're like, what the heck? This is why your weight shifts to the belly. You lose muscle faster. Fatigue, cravings, and sleep struggles increase. Okay. And it's not about your age. It's about insulin now being the driver. Okay. Because this is all hormones. All of it is hormones. But here's the good news. You can calm that driver down. That's why we talk about insulin resistance every single day, because you can calm that driver down. Okay. So here you go. So you can absolutely support the body naturally. And I will tell you, there are a few things that I did that really made a huge difference. Will it be Patty? Will tomorrow be on a replay? I'm going to ask Lynn asked that question yesterday. Good morning, Lori. Good to see you. Geraldine, I'm going to ask my husband if we'll do a replay. If we don't, it's just whatever for technology purposes. If I don't have one, then I will, if it's wildly popular tomorrow or whatever, I will try to schedule another one. So I'll try to figure that out. Joan, hi, where was this earlier in my world? Thank you for clarity. Where was it in my world too, Joan? I'm right there with you. Like, seriously, you guys, we're so lacking help in these simple things. Like, come on, why can't you just tell us this stuff? Or better yet, why don't you know this stuff as a primary care physician? Why don't you know any of this? Why do we feel like the greatest mystery in the world is hormones and that we have to go to a hormone specialist to figure everything out? And I'm not saying that they don't play a part. There are some people who have very different factors, okay? But let's just talk about the normal people like me. I didn't have anything significantly different in my world. I didn't have any underlying causes of anything. I was a super normal person. I never had like PCOS. I never had, like my mom at one point, she hemorrhaged so badly, she had to have a hysterectomy and whatever. I didn't have any of that. So there's a bunch of me running around out there. There's just a bunch of me where we're just like normal women going, what the heck with the weight? And why is the belly getting bigger and blah, blah, blah? Come on. Why can't we just have simple answers? Why do they make it so that like the hormones of a female, oh, who could possibly understand the hormones of a female? You might as well just resign yourself to the fact that your life is going to suck. We're going to have no answers for you. And when we do, it's going to be an anti-sadness pill. I mean, it's just like, what? Why? This should not be. This is ridiculous. Like, what if we just go, okay, so all of these hormones, they kind of are all like intermingling. We've got estrogen and cortisol and insulin and GLP-1. And how can I make my body produce them properly? How can I get my body to actually like do its job? Because I was made to function and my body was functioning really well. What went wrong? What kind of went, what was kind of like short circuiting? And what if I could just fix that without somebody throwing a birth control pill at me or somebody throwing a patch on me or somebody giving me a script because I've got anxiety? Or come on, like stop it. I come from the thought process that, listen, God made my body to function. Now I get there's all sorts of underlying everything else for people. I get it. That's not where I'm at. I'm with the normal people, right? Meaning just I didn't have a lot of background with just any health issues. I had gestational diabetes, but I didn't have a lot of other stuff. And there are people who do. And so you just have to understand. I understand my role here. I am not a hormone expert, and I'm not broadly, able to help somebody who has really deep intertwined issues with hormones. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about just a basic person. And there's a lot of us out there who haven't had a lot of stuff. And it's like, this should not be this complicated. Crazy. Lori says truth. I know. How did you come to the decision on using these supplements? There's so much out there. There is so much out there, Lori. I will answer that for you. Very, very good question, actually. So I started with, and maybe I can share some of this too tomorrow on the Zoom. I started with one adaptogenic herb. And I had a girlfriend who said to me, try this herb for your brain fog. Try this herb for your inability to multitask. And I'm like, okay, fine. I had no idea it had anything to do with insulin resistance. I didn't know anything. And I can share about that tomorrow, but that's where I started. And then I just kind of stuck with it because I actually ended up having a lot of respect for the line and how the line is created, organic farming and all that stuff. And because I didn't know anything, I didn't want to just do anything. if that makes sense. But then I became a brand ambassador doing what I do now and sharing it with other people. So that's kind of how I started. And there are a lot of people who want to, have a, like a wellness business like I do, right? And so it's just good to align yourself with a company that you believe in. So that's kind of how I started. And then what I have found out since then, it's been almost 15 years now, basically, and I shared this the other day, I understand that this is an unregulated industry. I'm not confused. And so I am a person who tends to, like, I've always kind of said I'm an overuser. Like, so if somebody says to me, oh, you only need a dime size of this shampoo, I'm like, I'm a little bit of an overuser. Or somebody's like, you just need a little bit of this cream for your face. And I'm kind of like, I'm just telling you my whatever. I don't know if that's a toxic trait or if I'm just normal. I'm probably just normal. And so I am of the mindset of more is better. And I knew that, like even when I started with the adaptogenic herb, and this is just kind of my own story on it, I'm like, wow, this is really working for me. And it says, to take 2 a day. And I'm like, I actually want to take 2 more. I want to take 2 in the morning and I want to take 2 more in the afternoon because this is becoming so effective for me for my brain fog, yada, yada. Well, I did. And knowing that, maybe I was, not being wise, like potentially. Well, come to find out I was being totally fine because their recommended daily dose is in such a great range. Like it's a very studied range that I was not messing anything up. Maybe I'm confusing to some people. I don't know. But so what I ended up doing was I reverse engineered. Why did this work for me? Why did this particular herb help me? Why did it help me balance out my hormones? Why did it? Because I knew nothing. I'm like, what? This is weird. So I got a book, I read the book, and this kind of started my journey. And now I just feel like I'm in a safety zone, if that's what that means. Like me who was not buying ever anything organic, and I still don't buy everything organic. I know we should. But I really wasn't like mindful like that at all. At least I knew that everything I was putting into a tiny pill was off of an organic farm. At least I was doing something good for my body. That's where I kind of was on that. But anyway, okay, so let's wrap this up just a tiny little bit for you guys. So I always talk about the basics, and it's very simple, right? Like when you begin to eat for insulin resistance, it changes the way that your body is functioning. So I teach grain-free, sugar-free, legume-free. And that's so that you can stop what got you into the pickle to begin with. Like, my losing 3 sizes in my 50s because I figured out my insulin factor is amazing. Keeping it off is even better because now I understand I feel like I've got a key. I have a key to how I supplement and I have a key to how I eat. And so I'm like, there you go. Like I went out with friends last night. We went to the Minnesota History Museum, had a great time, blah, blah, blah. We went out to eat. I love this place. It's called The Tavern. I just order my burger without a bun. And I had some Brussels sprouts on the side. And like, I'm happy. Like I'm not suffering over here at all. I just know how to create my world everywhere I go. I'm a total foodie. I love the way that I eat. I'm not eating trash. I don't feel like I'm punishing myself or I'm restriction. I'm so restricted. No, I'm just using real food ingredients and creating exactly what I want. I'm just telling you. And then I went last night on our way home and I bought, have you ever had Lily's? Lily's, this is Lily's salted caramel. I don't do it all the time, but it's a nice little treat because we had to go run and get some stuff. You understand grain and sugar-free, but you thought legumes are healthy. I know. And listen, God did not make bad food. So this is not about, whatever. Like we're just eliminating things just to eliminate them. But when you are insulin resistant, legumes are like 40 to 45 grams of carbs per cup. It's really high. So the spike is not, if you have a CGM, that would help you. That would help you to know. Anyway, so I get up in the morning and I have protein for breakfast that doesn't spike my sugars. Legumes would be protein that would spike your sugars. Grain is protein that would spike your sugars. So I have like, eggs and a chicken sausage and all that good stuff. Lots of front loading protein on any given day. I talk about supplementation, and it's all about the liver, the gut, and insulin. This is why the results come from you guys so well. I do take magnesium and an adaptogen at night before I go to bed. These are all things that can kind of help this whole conversation with the estrogen being low and everything. I move my body, I go for walks, right? And I just do things now that I would have never known to do before. Like it would not have been in my wheelhouse at all to have any of that conversation, of this conversation. So the total body reset, I'm going to run through that very quickly. And then at 3:00 today in the group, Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women, it's recipe day. So once a month, we do a free 5-day challenge. This is our 29th one. We're going to do a recipe today at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. And then that wraps it up for October. And any nuggets that you get from the challenge, implement them until we can get to November, and then we'll do another challenge. How does that sound? So when I talk to women about this, is why I'm convinced. I know that right at the beginning of my menopause year just happened to be right when I recognized, oh my gosh, that adaptogenic herb is helping my body. What is going on? Number one. Number two, I better deal with my sugars because, like I'm scared because my dad died and I'm paying attention to, whether my sores are healing on my body. And I'm like, I need to pay attention. Number three, I started to trade off foods because I was either going to embrace obesity like the rest of my Italian family, or I was going to do my 50s differently. And that was a personal decision that I had to make for myself. So when I talk about supplementation for insulin resistance, I'll tell you exactly where I started and exactly where you guys are now coming in with all of the results. And for people who have never heard me talk about this before, the Total Body Reset are simply 6 products that I have sourced from my line that have changed my world. And now you guys come to me and you're like, wow, this actually doesn't have anything to do with age. We've been told, well, you're just getting older. Your metabolism is slowing down. No, your insulin is high and you need to deal with your insulin most of the time. If you're on my content, that's the theory, right? That's what you're thinking. And, or you've been diagnosed. And so it's like, you can be Claudette, who was 74 last year and in 5 months lost 45 pounds doing this. You could be, Terry's on here, she lost 49 pounds, 62 years old. This isn't about age. This is about hormones. And so everything in the Total Body Reset is helping with insulin sensitivity. So it's like bam, 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 bam. That's why people get the results that they do. So I started with the trio, the 3 supplements that have 3 ingredients that help with insulin sensitivity. This is where I start. I have to be careful, TikTok, so I apologize because they don't like it when I do this. And then they get these little flagaroos. But this is where I started. And it's insulin, sugars, liver, and metabolism. Insulin, sugars, metabolism, and liver. Liver, insulin, sugars, and metabolism. Like, it doesn't matter how I say it, it's the same thing. So one of them you take 3 times a day and the other 2 you take twice a day. And that's the only thing that I did with my food. And I ended up losing 3 sizes because I was helping my insulin. And if you don't help your insulin to come down, and remember, your estrogen's not helping anymore. If you don't help your insulin to come down, you won't burn fat because your fat burning switch is turned off. So there was my connection. But since then, what has happened is other things have come into play. And so that's half of the Total Body Reset right there. And you can do just that. You can do just the trio. That's fine. But if you want to do all of it, then we're adding in a gut primer because, again, liver. This is going to help your liver. Leaky gut, bring down inflammation, supporting the healing and the sealing of your gut, helping you with your sleep, your brain fog. Like, you've got to get your liver going, because the second piece is, if your liver is sluggish, you also won't burn fat. So insulin and liver. Okay. And this is just a green product, green powder. I'm not a green tea person. I say this literally every day. I put it in cold water and drink it like a wellness shot. It's very fresh. It's all off of organic farms. It's really lovely as far as that's concerned, the quality of what's inside of it. But the most important thing is that it has 6 different blends. And we kind of went over them yesterday for somebody who was asking, how does this help with, what was her question yesterday? How does this help with candida? And so I looked that up to see, okay, oh, the pre and the postbiotics do this and da, 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 da. So I'm just telling you a very comprehensive gastrointestinal primer. It's not just a greens product you're adding to your smoothie and then you're good to go. You could add this to a smoothie, but anyway. So this is product number 4. Number 5 is a probiotic, 5 strains that are alive. Put them on your tongue. Somebody even texted me this morning. I saw it and she said, "You're right. It does taste like the bottom of a cereal bag." I don't know why that's so funny to me. I think I'm the only person in my brain. I always think I'm the only one. I remember eating like honeycomb. Was it honeycomb crisp or honeycomb? I don't remember. But like taking the bottom, didn't you guys do this too? You take the bottom of the bag and you're like, was it just me? Couldn't have been just me. Anyway, so it tastes like the bottom of a cereal bag. And that's number 5. And then number 6 is the orange pixie stick. So if you've wondered, like, what is this total body reset that I have such a tickle? I think I have like a hair on the end of my nose or something, like an eyelash, or I apologize. You've been wondering, like, what does she talk about, this total body reset? That's what we're talking about. It's not a prepackaged marketing anything. This is like where I started and then I share it. And then other things have come into play. And now when you guys are doing this, it's like the results are so great. So the trio, and then the gut primer, the probiotic, and then the orange pixie stick. This is very specifically, Lynn says, we did. I know. Yes, Lucy, I can actually send you a list. I can actually do that. Yeah, you're so funny, Lynn. I know I'm not the only one. This has actually I've sourced this out of the sports nutrition line. And it targets your visceral fat. And listen, if you're insulin resistant, you just do. You just do. You're welcome, Lucy. You're welcome. Lori. Oh, yeah. I did answer that, Anna. I did. I just did. But anyway, I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything. I feel like I'm missing things. You would like a list? Yeah, Sweet Jean. I will do that. And also too, Sweet Jean, what you can do, I can send that to you when I get off, or you can go, there's a link on my profile. And I'm going to show you right now how you can do this. Okay. Make this easy for you guys. So this tastes like orange candy. You put it on your tongue every day for 90 days and then take 30 days off because it is a thermogenic and you don't want your body to get used to it, because I'm telling you, I am not lying when I say this is where the inches are being lost. When people lose like right under their bra, because when you're insulin resistant and you're gaining fat, because insulin is a fat storing hormone, it's laying it down in your trunk, under your bust, down your hips. It's laying it in this area. This is why you have the belly fat and you're like, what the heck is going on? You're Italian, so you get it. I know. It took me a while to get past the mental stuff, because I was very ingrained to celebrate with food and to mourn with food. It was very deep. It goes deep, right? You would love a list please too. I'll do that. So anyway, my Facebook just went out on me. Hold on. See if it comes back. Sorry, Facebook. That was weird. I don't know. It looks like my Wi-Fi is weird. What kind of test can you take, Mary? It's called a fasting insulin test. But like even yesterday, I had somebody on TikTok saying they can't get their doctor to do it. So I'm just telling you, you can ask for it, see if they'll do it. What happens is you are insulin resistant for years and decades before it shows up in your sugars. Years and decades, and they don't pull a fasting insulin. They wait until it rises in your blood. The sugar rises in your blood. You want one too, Kathleen? I will do it. But I will show you how you can do it on your own if you want to. Instagram is having trouble keeping the live going. Lucy says her doctor won't do it either. But this is the deal. You don't have to have a test. You really don't. Because if you have belly fat, if you are exhausted, if you have any skin tags, if you are waking up in the middle of the night and that could be your sugar, your blood sugar, whatever. If you've ever had an A1C done, if you've ever had a fasting glucose of any kind, PCOS, fatty liver, type 2, gout. This is all the same. This is all the same. Okay, you too. You guys are adorable. Okay, hold on now. I will do that, but I will tell you, listen, I can make it even easier for you, but I will do that. I will do that, Mary. So my site is for people on Facebook. It's right here. It's just right here. It's my first last.com. That's how easy that is. My name is Kirsten Liebelt. If you're on TikTok, it's going to be on my profile, link in bio. On Instagram, link in bio. It's actually link in bio on Facebook too, but I make it even easier for you right there. Okay. And when you go there, you'll see my face. And this is where I have to be careful because TikTok doesn't like me to show things that take you away. Okay. So you'll see my face and then I have to go over here. I apologize. I know that's really janky, but you'll see my face. And at the very top right here, you're going to see these 4 choices right here. That literally is just 4 choices of the body reset. One is the trio. One is 3 of them only for the liver, 2 of them only for the gut, or all 6. It's just the exact same 6 products in different configurations because everybody wants to start somewhere different. Okay. Now, this is a way that you can completely get yourself in a different position for what's coming in the next few months with the holidays and everything. You will be positioned in a completely different way. Number 1, make sure you register as a customer. Do not check out as a guest if you want the opportunity for free shipping or if you want the opportunity to take advantage of the customer campaign. Do not do that. And the customer campaign is like, I don't know of anybody that's doing this, where when you purchase $150 or more 3 months in a row, on the 3rd month, they give you $75 off. That's paying you for your wellness journey. That's what that's doing. And then they've actually have a couple of extra bonuses that are coming up for consistency in December, January, with even more money off. That's coming. And it has not been released by the company yet. So I'm going to be careful. I'm just going to tell you what's coming. Your consistency will pay off even more starting in October. I'm just going to tell you that much. Okay. So there's my picture. And then the top 4 right there is where the configurations of the total body are. There is a form here. This will go away tomorrow. This form right here where you give your email, that's for a private Zoom for tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. And we're all just going to jump on there. I'm going to do a little webinar and I'm going to talk about all of the peripheral supplementations, just so that you can have an understanding of, because you probably have stuff in your cupboard, like you have a makeup drawer that's filled with stuff. Maybe you have stuff in your cupboard already, or maybe you want to understand how to put things under one umbrella so that you can take advantage of the customer campaign, because people are buying things from so many different places. Amazon, Facebook ad, or, like a drugstore or a sample at, a warehouse place, you know what I mean, that starts with a C and all that kind of stuff. So we might be going in different directions to grab things, and bringing it all together can make sense. You can't find me on Instagram. So then, Sweet Jean, I will absolutely reach out to you, because I don't know what it looks like on your side. You have to click on my face to get to my profile. I'm not sure, but I will reach out to you when I'm done. So anyway, so there's that form with the email. And then there's my before and after picture. I have free resources here for you. And then at the very bottom are some contact pieces if you need that. If you're thinking, I don't know how to message you on Facebook, I don't know how to message you on Instagram, I don't know how to whatever. And because I go briefly over things here, I can do a little bit more on a Zoom tomorrow. So you can sign up for that if you want to. Otherwise, don't worry about it. It's the first time I'm doing that. I just asked you guys 2 days ago if that would interest you. And so many of you said yes. You tried things, but you appreciate it. You're very nice to share with us. You're welcome. Yes. Well, you know what? This is the deal. I started sharing with people locally first, like just in person, because I was in corporate America. So I was in corporate America. I left corporate to take care of my mom who had dementia. And my sister and I did that for 5 years, 4 of them of me having left corporate. When she passed away 2.5 years ago, I did not want to go back to corporate. I had already started doing content online, but I thought, you know what? I do not want to go back to corporate. I want to take my wellness business to a completely different level. And so I started to really connect with people online and explain what had been happening to me and what the testimonies were of people around me here, just locally in the cities. And I'm so grateful because sometimes it's in a very good way. It's very overwhelming to hear your testimonies of the scripts that you've gotten off of, or the MRIs that are showing better labs, or the weight, the tucking in of the blouse, the all of the things, the sometimes things that are like, maybe we don't talk about them very much, but like if all of a sudden your constipation of many years has resolved and your vulnerability being out and about or traveling has shifted for you, or maybe you had diarrhea all the time. Listen, my mom had diarrhea all the time as a side effect of a script of Met. And that was very hard on her because of her dementia. So anytime we have disruption in our life like that, all of a sudden we have to re-navigate the way that we do life. Well, when you can take that back, when you can eliminate something that's been doing that for you, you're like, wow, like it's almost like your life gets brighter. And that has been such an overwhelmingly good thing for me. It's like, this is amazing. This is actually very life-changing for so many people. When somebody texts me and they're like, you will not believe this. My doctor said, what are you doing? You are amazing. I am putting not diabetic in your chart. What? Like, these things are so good because you are now serving yourself 5 years from now. You're serving yourself, that version of you 10 years from now. You are taking care of the person that might have needed help being taken care of. And now maybe she won't need to be taken care of as much. I have a friend who literally, her grandma just passed. She was going to be 90 in 2 weeks. She was picking her tomatoes and passed. That's a good life. That is those are good years spent as an older person. That was not my mother's life of dementia. My dad never even got there. He was 63, gone, type 2. My mama should never have been type 2, but she was. So then we went right into type 3. She ended up with Alzheimer's, right? And she had to be taken care of, which was her worst nightmare. She never, ever, ever wanted that. But can you imagine you're 90 and you're out in your garden picking your tomatoes? What a blessing. That's really cool, And so I think that we all crave function. I think we all crave to have this older life that actually still has vitality in it, that still has conversation. Like I said, my grandma, she was playing Scrabble in her upper 90s. Like, she was a Scrabble queen. You could not beat my grandma, and she had no mercy. She wasn't going to let you win. She was not the grandma that let you win. She was the grandma that knew every 50.2-letter word, whatever. She knew them all. Anyway, but you know what? Don't you want to have, like, nobody wants to live with poor function. Nobody wants to be taken care of. Had my mother had her mind about her, she would have been horrified how we had to take care of her for those years, right? So anyway, you're serving your future self, and I'll be long gone, and you'll be like, I'm so grateful that somebody spoke up and said something about these simple bodily functions and connections that could shift the way that I actually live my life. And all of a sudden, maybe, because I never make claims, but just maybe your calendar will open up and you won't have as many doctor appointments, and maybe you won't have as many scripts on the list, and maybe you'll make less trips to the Walgreens, and maybe you'll be like, I'm not so exhausted anymore, and I don't ache when I wake up, and I can actually like travel without swollen ankles. These are things for me that are a big deal. I can get down on the floor with my grandbabies, and I can walk around the Minnesota Zoo with my grandkids, and I can go to the Mall of America and people watch. And I can now, I have so many of you that say to me, I feel so much better right now. I can actually go walking. I can actually do some exercise. Like that was like gone for a while. Well, that's like atrophy central, right? We can't do that. If we know what we know from even just this live at the beginning, when we said, listen, when estrogen decreases in your body, you start to lose muscle fast. Well, you can't sit down then on the job, right? But when you don't feel good and you don't move and you're exhausted and fatigue is overwhelming, you don't then fight that very well, right? I mean, we all are like, we'd rather sit on the couch. Well, we can't do that and have a highly functioning life, right? So I get excited about how you guys are becoming your own advocate. Like, I'm so proud of you for sitting on content like this that would be considered, boring or the least sexiest thing ever to even like, who wants to sit and listen to this, right? But you're doing it for yourself. You so much want to change. You so much want to make a difference in your body and how you feel. And you're finally ready. You're finally ready to take care of yourself. Maybe you've taken care of everybody else in your life. And you're like, I am done. If I don't take care of me, I'm going to have to be taken care of. And I'm not going to do that. So like, I love talking about Claudette because 74 years old, 1 year ago at this time, she was on the total body reset and she was losing her 45 pounds at 74 years old, still ready to take back her life. And she's on her feet 2 days a week, working. She's 75 now, on her feet 2 days a week, working. And she said, I have more energy than the 20-somethings because they're out partying the night before. I mean, come on. Like, that does not inspire you? I love that so much for her. Very interesting, Mary. I know. It's so interesting. I just have a forward-thinking thought process now that I never would have. And I think it's because of the way my parents did their life. And I'm like, yeah, pretty much don't want that. Not interested in heart surgeries and kidney dialysis and dead at 63. That would be my dad. That was pretty hard to watch. And then for my mom, like she was 65 when he died, and she spent years traveling and doing some really cool things. But then she ended up with kidney cancer, and she lost a kidney, and she ended up type 2 and on meds. And then she ended up with dementia. So it was like, I'm not interested. And then she was gone at 94. So she lived long, but not with great function. We don't want that, do we? We don't want that. Lori, you're so sweet. She says, you are a gifted communicator. Doctor doesn't explain anything. I know. And I feel like, it's like, I'm not anti-medicine. Like, God gave us help. It's just that this is not a terminal diagnosis. This was never meant to be a terminal diagnosis. So what's up with not giving us the right information? What's up with them not knowing the right information? This wasn't sealed in a vault. The research I do, I didn't have to go to another country and get a certificate of hidden information to help women with their insulin resistance. No, this is supposedly common information. Why is it not on the posters in the waiting rooms at our doctor's offices? Why is this not a normal conversation? We're not talking about the need for a specialist. I mean, I understand some of you go to a specialist, an endocrinologist, but like an oncologist, like, we're not talking about the big C, right? That has many layers and many like pieces, and there's many differences and different factors and different things that it starts with, and that what feeds it. And that's big. It's a big conversation. That's not this. this is like, okay, so our bodies were made to function and we are women. And if we could just know a little bit more about estrogen and cortisol and insulin and GLP-1, gosh, that would really help. And they treat it like, oh, but who could know the mysteries? I'm like, this is not that mysterious. So, yes, I had to change the way that I eat, but I was not going to give up everything that I loved. So, like, I found my own little like ways to make everything that I love. No, I didn't fix all of my emotional triggers overnight. That's ridiculous because we eat when we're stressed and bored and tired and happy and sad and like, come on, right? That's what we do, right? Or we're addicted to sugar. And so we have addict behavior. And so it takes time for that. Okay, that's fine. But in the meantime, I could do this. In the meantime, I could do the total bot. I could do this, and I'm still doing this. In the meantime, I can make my body. Come on, body. Come on, come on. Support you, support you, support you so that you will position yourself and you will deliver results for me. I will not require a body that is sluggish and exhausted and low on fuel of everything to produce for me. That's ridiculous. That's fantasy land, in my opinion. That doesn't work. So anyway, all right. I think that I've got everybody. I think that I've got everybody's questions so far. I know who I'm going to send information to when I get off. Give me a little bit of time to get that all out to you guys. At 3:00 Central Standard Time in the group, Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. Yes, Sweet Jean, you can. You can take them while you're on Met. And in fact, you take to support your body, you're supporting your systems. Okay. So I am not a doctor, so I would never tell you to stop something or none of that. But many people have done that with their doctors because of supporting their system. They didn't need it anymore. Okay. So just to let you know. But we're always very careful about that because everybody's got something different and not everybody's checking their sugars like they're supposed to. Not everybody has a continuous glucose monitor, etc. So anyway, in the group, we're going to do our recipe today. And if you do jump in there, make sure you give your email to get in and we'll do the recipe. And then the replays are up in the featured section in the group from this week. And they'll only last for 30 days. Very nice meeting you too. Thank you. Very nice meeting you. And you guys have such a great day. Have a really good weekend. Do something for yourself. Trade out an ingredient. Try a new recipe. Do something little. It doesn't have to be mountainous. Do something that makes you proud of yourself this weekend. And then I'll be back here at 11 a.m. Central on Monday for another week. So have such a good day, you guys. Love you all.